Well, as you can probably tell, it's time to replace the exterior door in our project house shop with this new door. Unfortunately, the old door is a non-standard height, so we had carpenter Andy Engel cut it down. Let's see how he did it.
Manufacturers typically allow wood doors to be trimmed by 1/2 inch at the top and 1.5 inches at the bottom. Generally, it's easier to cut a door from the top, as you won't have to remove the weather strip. But in this case, we need to remove about 1.5 inches, more than can be safely removed from the top, so we're cutting the bottom. Take the door out of its frame by removing any packing materials and driving out the hinge pins. Place the door on a surface that won't scratch, with the exterior of the door facing up, so the hinges won't interfere with the saw. Then, use a 5-in-1 tool to carefully pry off the sweep. Use a shooting board to guide the circular saw to make the cut. This one is made from 2 pieces of 1/4 inch plywood. There's a fence and a base. It's made wider than the saw base and trimmed before its first use. Once trimmed, the shooting board lines up with the saw blade. Mark the amount you want to cut from the door on both edges. There's no guesswork about where to place the shooting board. Its edge is at the edge of the saw cut, easing layout and minimizing chipping. Line up the shooting board with the marks and clamp it in place. Then, use the shooting board as a guide to score the door with a sharp utility knife to further prevent chipping. Use a circular saw with the guide to cut the door. Sand the edges of the cut to clean off any fuzz. Then, use spray adhesive and staples or small screws to reattach the sweep. Before removing the sill, screw a spreader to the jamb legs to temporarily hold the frame together. Disassemble the bottom door frame by cutting the staples with an oscillating multi-tool. Use care so you don't damage anything that shows. You'll need to shorten the frame by the same amount as you did the door. Mark the sill angle first, and then the jamb length. Then, cut the jambs to length. The next step is to notch the jamb legs to receive the sill. Adjust a circular saw to the proper depth using the rabbet on the side jamb for guidance. Then, make a series of cuts across the jamb. Finally, clean up the cuts with a chisel. Now it's time to reattach the jambs to the sill. Apply a liberal amount of sealant to the end of the sill and reattach the jamb with stainless steel screws, one side at a time. Rehang the door in the frame. Use your toe to help align the door with the hinges, and you're ready to install the unit, just like any other pre-hung door. And that's how you cut down a pre-hung door.